Hello, welcome to Africa 54. I'm Chamberlain Osoa Channels Television here in Lagos. I'm joined by Vincent Makori at Voice of America in Washington.
Well, thanks, I'm Vincent Makori. Happy to be with you again for another edition of Africa 54. Due to the global outbreak of COVID-19, the Voice of America has reduced staffing at VOA headquarters in Washington. So as you see, our broadcast will look a little different today and in the near future. We appreciate you staying with us on Africa 54. Let's start off with the latest from Nigeria. Channels Television in Lagos brings you that story.
It's been 64 years since the discovery of crude in commercial quantity in Oloibiri town in Bayelsa State in Nigeria's Niger Delta region. Despite the crucial contribution of the region to the country's economic fortunes, underdevelopment and environmental degradation remain part of the harsh reality of many communities till date. Channels Television's correspondent Dobra Timiwood compiled this report, which highlights the situation there.
Nigerians are no strangers to the name Oloibiri, an oil-producing community located in Ogbia local government area of Bayelsa State. It's a small community that oil explorers from Shell first discovered petroleum in West Africa. This historic town should be a tourist attraction, but the area that helped transform the economic fortunes of the country is now plagued with glaring underdevelopment and abject poverty. Torn, corrugated iron roofs, abandoned buildings, unreliable electricity, no potable drinking water, dilapidated classrooms, a cottage hospital which has remained under lock and key. 64 years oil was discovered here. The community lies in ruins with nothing to show for its significant role in Nigeria's oil-related economic fortunes.
We wholly answer the name to be the first community that produced the wealth of Nigeria. But when you come to Oloibiri now, you see say nothing is going on. Suffering, no water, no light, no road.
Fishing and farming was the mainstay of Oloibiri before the discovery of oil brought it to a halt, and they depended on money from oil companies for their survival. The community is making a gradual return to the pre-oil era to make a living the way they once knew. The residents say there have been several appeals to the federal government to alleviate their sufferings, but not much has been done.
It is not too late to correct the wrongs. We are calling on President Muhammad Buhari. We are calling on the federal government of Nigeria, the National Assembly. We are calling on Bayelsa State government, the 30% derivation fund that accrues to it, all the monies that come to oil-producing communities and states, that a special fund be dedicated to reparate to Tabagi people.
Indigents are still hopeful that even after 64 years, something will be done about their plight to develop a community that was the first golden goose to lay the first of many golden eggs.
All right, let's get more now on the issue of development in Nigeria's Niger Delta region. We're joined by James Elekochi, the Economic Development Manager of the Partnership Initiatives in the Niger Delta. He joins us from Warri in Delta State. Welcome to Africa 54. Now, let's start by asking you, several challenges have been identified as areas that need to be addressed. What, in your perspective, can you say is the most critical challenge bedeviling the region developmentally?
Yes, good morning. The main challenge, that I see in the Niger Delta today has to do with the issue of high-level underdevelopment and the issue of conflict in terms of kidnapping, armed robbery, and extreme poverty amongst the people of Niger Delta, lack of development. Those are the main critical challenges that currently really affecting the region.
But having identified those areas, how would you recommend these issues be approached?
So first and foremost, all the stakeholders actually have a role to play here, starting with the government. All right. Over the years, the government has actually spent a lot of money on the Niger Delta Development Commission, all right, over the years. How do you compare the budget spent over the years to the development in the region? The government actually set up the Ministry of Niger Delta. How do you compare the amount of money that has gone into that ministry to the results that we're seeing on ground? The government of the Niger Delta actually have been receiving funds from the federal allocation. How do you compare, those amounts of money over the decades to the level of development that we are seeing in the region? So all of us have a role to play, including the Niger Delta people ourselves, starting with our leaders, starting with our youths. If you want to put in some investment in the Niger Delta today, you're going to see a group of young people coming to ask for money. It means that they call it diver, means that you need to pay some illegal levy. All those things, kind of drive investors away. Nobody wants to invest in a region where the cost of investment is very high. Those things drive away investors, and as a result, there will be no opportunity for companies to set up and offer employment. So everybody got a role in the situation we are seeing today, and that needs to change completely. We need a total mindset change in order to realize our potentials.
And speaking about the youth, yes, indeed, there is a large youthful population, just like we have in different parts of the country. But education is an equally important component. Have you noticed, or how should it be approached, deliberate policy to ensure education of those young lads over there, such that we can have this quality manpower that they can leverage on?
You're completely correct, because there are so many opportunities we're getting, but it's called a complete lack of skill, in terms of meeting these opportunities. Just check it out. Very basic. I just mentioned very basic example: construction. If you want to build a house in this country today, even in the Niger Delta, where do you get all the tilers? People go to Togo to get those who are going to do proper tiling. Where do you get all the painters? People go to Togo, other West African region. So how do we improve the skills, of an average Niger Delta youth? For me, education is not just a formal education. It's also about skills acquisition, matching education with the demands, of employers and those who really need the labor. And we are doing this, in PIND actually, because we have this Niger Delta Youth Employment Pathway, where we train young people between the ages of 16 to 30. And basically, they offered to the labor market, matching their skills with the requirements of the labor market. And that way they get some training and they get employed. Also, they follow through the entrepreneurship pathway.
I know you talked about different people playing different roles, but stakeholders, that's government, the NGOs, and the international organizations, would you say they're doing enough, or how would you rank their efforts at improving the livelihoods of those who live in the area?
I think the NGOs and the international organizations are really doing a lot. Even though I come from the Niger Delta, but I wasn't really raised and bred here. I came back here, essentially when I got the opportunity to do some work in paint. And so as an NGO in the Niger Delta, we've done a lot by, first of all, understanding what the critical issues are. The first main issue was to understand what the challenges are, what the issues are. And we found that agriculture offers the main opportunity for people in the Niger Delta. And what do I mean by that? What are the value chains, agricultural value chains, where you see a whole lot of people playing a role? From our assessment, we found that aquaculture was one of it, palm oil was one of it, cassava was one of it. And if you check, these kind of commodities offer opportunity for import substitution. Nigeria imports over 400 metric tons of special palm oil and about 600,000 metric tons of technical palm oil. The same thing applies to aquaculture. We import about 2 million metric tons of fisheries every year. So what do you think will happen if you start, substituting those imports through local production. So that's what, we're doing as an NGO, as a foundation. The government guys also need to do a little bit more to supplement what the international development organizations are doing. The government needs to do more in terms of coming up with proper roadmap, because sometimes we say, all the governments have plans, the problem is implementation. I don't think that's correct. Most times they do not really have proper roadmaps. So we have done this a lot, working with a number of state governments, Cross Rivers, Delta, Edo, helping them in Abia State and as well as in Edo State to come up with proper roadmaps. This is what has made Lagos State work because they have a roadmap. So each governor comes, builds on what the others have done. So that's the kind of consistency we're seeing in the Niger Delta. We wish the government guys can also do the same, coming in and building on what your predecessor has achieved.
All right, then, Mr. James Elekwachi, Economic Development Manager of PIND Foundation. Thank you for talking to us today on Africa 54.
You're welcome. It's always my pleasure.
Namibia is receiving international praise after recording so few coronavirus cases. The Southwest African nation has started to ease restrictions on social and economic activities. However, President Haig Gangomp urged public vigilance as schools resume face-to-face classes and restaurants start receiving sit-down customers. Confident Musariri has a report from Windhoek.
Namibia is one of the only 5 African countries to record 0 COVID-19 deaths as of June 1, 2020, when the continent's infections surpassed 150,000. Southwest African country has a population of 2.3 million, although it is bigger in area size than the United Kingdom and France combined. Experts, however, credit the Namibian success to more than just a small population, but leadership and decisive action.
We locked down very, very heavy. When we closed our borders and initially closed 2 of our most economically active regions, that's Commerce region and Erongo on the Atlantic coast, we only had 2 cases. We did not delay implementing our program and decisions. Even before regulations and policy are finalized, we were on the ground already. We created that partnership between the government, the private sector, security cluster, our partner development agencies such as the WHO and the CDC Atlanta. All of us came on board. We worked straight on the 8 pillars that were recommended by WHO.
We are very vulnerable, but in this vulnerability, politically and humanly, it was the right thing to do to close off Namibia very early on. Otherwise, we would not stand here today and look at a country which up to date does not have one single locally transmitted viral infection. And I think that is commendable.
The banning of large gatherings and Europe-bound flights was a political tightrope for President Haig Gangomp, who was due to be inaugurated for his 2nd term in charge. Rather, the president was inaugurated in a private ceremony, and the millions that had been earmarked for the inauguration was diverted to thwart coronavirus. These mitigatory measures did not only curb the infections. Statistics from the Motor Vehicle Accident Fund of Namibia shows that 60% of road accidents were avoided, and fatalities also as much as 70% were avoided compared to the previous period. By June 1, Namibia is getting back to life. Still no deaths, only 1 internal transmission, and the government remains cautious in its approach. Confidence Musariri for VOA, Windhoek, Namibia.
All right, we invite you to visit our website, channelstv.com, for news and other programming around the clock. You can also find us at youtube.com/channelsweb. Still to come, in Ethiopia, schools may be closed, but there is much to learn on television. A new show reaches out to millions of children in 7 Ethiopian dialects. That's in a moment.
Welcome back to Africa 54. I'm Vincent McCory in Washington. Ever since Tanzania's president endorsed inhaling steam to prevent coronavirus, some have flocked to shops selling steam machines, even though health experts say there is no evidence the method has any impact on COVID-19. Charles Kombe reports from Dar es Salaam.
Msafiri Mjema is making good money with a steam machine that he invented. He says people are coming to buy his product ever since President John Magufuli declared that steam works against the coronavirus. He says he now makes up to $200 a day.
Before in this clinic I was earning 70,000 to 100,000 shillings, but now I earn 500,000, and there is one day that I earned up to $1 million here. This is just the beginning.
2 months ago, the Tanzanian leader suggested inhaling steam could be a coronavirus treatment.
The Ministry of Health should continue to clarify how inhaling steam helps to contain the coronavirus. If those viruses are in the nose or mouth, they will melt when the temperature reaches above 100 degrees centigrade. This is also an important thing.
Jen Makiao has put her faith in steam and comes here for the treatment.
I steam because I know there is coronavirus. When you get out there, your body becomes more comfortable. Even our President Magufuli and our ministers recommend us to steam because they know its importance.
But health experts warn there is no evidence steam prevents coronavirus, adding that inhaling steam could even cause health problems.
Ni muhimu kuelewa kwamba hakuna sayansi yoyote. It
is better to understand that there is no scientific proof of this, so you can't rely on steaming as the cure for the coronavirus. Also, it's better to understand that there are effects of inhaling steam. Some people may get a certain type of pneumonia that causes lung problems, and this may increase their chance to contract coronavirus.
Meanwhile, Mjema continues to make money with his service from people who still believe they are protecting themselves from the virus. Charles Kombe for VOA News, Dar es Salaam.
This week we are launching a series called COVID-19 Diaries. Today we begin in Burkina Faso, where we meet Colin Babi Civil, a barber from Ouagadougou who's struggling to get his business back on track after the government started easing COVID-19 confinement measures. The images are by Lamine Traoré.
My artist's name is Jojo Kasimoto. I am an artist, singer, author, composer, filmmaker, actor, and sound engineer. I'm a barber. That's the real term. Barber. Our job was impacted because people were suspicious. People didn't really want to do their hair because of the disease, and they were afraid of hygiene. Perhaps the hairdresser does not take appropriate precautions. Maybe he does not disinfect his tools. They are right. They are right to be worried. Before we used to make very good money. Before, you could make maybe 5,000, 10,000, but now it doesn't work. There is nothing. You can go home with nothing, not even 100 francs, because people aren't coming. It's really difficult. But I think it will be okay. Personally, I worried a lot because, as you know, there was no work, no help, and we have families to feed. It was really complicated. Like everyone else, you wash your hands. When you have a curfew, you go home very early, and, like everyone else, I come here to my small business, but nobody is there. Nobody came because they did not trust they were safe. Really, it was not easy. No, never. Never this, no. I haven't received that. Not as an artist or as a business owner. I did not receive anything. No, no, no. The experience that I have learned is that cleanliness comes first, because we did not have this habit of washing our hands every time. But now that we have this habit, we should keep it. The lesson I learned is that in life, you have to be clean.
An educative television show in Ethiopia is growing in popularity as schools remain closed in the country due to the COVID-19 pandemic. The creator of the program, a former teacher, uses a giraffe sock puppet to teach children in 7 Ethiopian dialects. The show aims to reach 10 million children around the country. Take a look.
A bright and inquisitive African animal is how its creator, Bruktawit Tigabu, describes the puppet Shehei, which means sun in the Ethiopian language. The 38-year-old came up with the idea of an animated puppet show while teaching children in a primary school. She wanted to tackle the issue of illiteracy in Ethiopia.
In some regions and some situations, in fact, up to 50% of the children, going to school, for 2 years and 3 years, still unable to read a single sentence. So what does that mean? What does it say for the child? It says that the child starts doubting themselves. That is because of the failure of educators like me, and the parents and the whole system is failing the child. So that is not acceptable for me. So I wanted to find a way to reach and to change that.
The show is popular with the Eka family, who have been stuck in their Addis Ababa home since March. That is when Ethiopian authorities closed schools across the country. Shehei teaches the alphabet and tells stories. She also deals with sensitive issues such as domestic violence and the current global health crisis. While the kids are glued to the show, mom and dad also get to have a little break.
The program is very helpful, especially for mothers like me. It helps us get a break to do house chores as they enjoy listening to their stories and learning from the television. It is very helpful for parents.
The show's creator, Bruktawit, decided in order to reach children across Ethiopia, they had to translate the show into all languages. A team of 120 language and educational specialists helped with the new formats.
The way we are doing it is using mass media, the TV and radio. And as you know, this is not safe environment for every day. It gives us energy, risking our life to come to work and making sure literally 240 episodes are coming out within 2 months so that we can reach up to 10 million children. That gives us the energy because we know that when the children get this content, it might be the only educational content they got for the day.
Bruktawit has won numerous international awards in recognition of her work. She now has big ambitions for expanding her show across the continent.
And that's our show for today. You can find all the continent's top news and world news online at voaafrica.com. Check it out. I'm Vincent Makori in Washington. Channels Television has our last word from Lagos.
Well, thanks, Vincent. We look forward to bringing you another show next week. Don't forget, channelstv.com is your source for news and other programming. I'm Chamberlain Uso. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.